I want to be one of Santa's reindeer, with jingle bells on straps of green and red. I want to eat some hay.
Hi everybody, I'm an otter. I know I don't look much like an otter at the moment. That's because I'm a were-reindeer. Yes, you see, I spend most of my time as an otter, but when I'm exposed to snow, I turn into a reindeer. And one of the awesome things about being a reindeer is I get to work for Santa. And I'm not making this up. I actually do work for Santa as one of his flying reindeer. There's a long story behind that, but I'm not here to bore you. I am, however, here to answer your questions. If you have a question for Santa's reindeer, you can send me an email. My address is orenotter3, that's ORENOTTER 3 @yahoo.com. Or you can find me on Facebook. You can talk to me directly there, or you can find me in the groups Clean Straight Furries, North Pole Furries, or the Transformation Cafe. I also help out there. All right then, let's get to the questions, shall we? This first question comes from a Carlos Kelly via the group Clean Straight Furries, and he asks, "What does Santa feed you?" Feed you. Well, that's a good question, Carlos. We do eat a lot of hay, which comes to us primarily from southern Canada and the northern United States, especially from states like Wyoming and Montana, where there's huge prairies that somebody has to mow. Now, that is not our favorite food. That's not flyra, which is a word that we borrowed from the rabbits for really good food. And so to spice things up, the elves often add a few other things in, like alfalfa, corn, peppermint and spearmint, because that keeps us smelling really nice. And our favorite thing to eat is reindeer moss. It's a kind of lichen. And those of us with red noses, which you'll notice I have, or I suppose I should say glowing noses, we have to eat a special kind of lichen that glows in the dark, and it collects in our bloodstream and it shines out through our noses. So there's also that. But me personally, when I'm done with work, there's this restaurant in Elftown that I like to go to called the Rusty Barrel. I like to go there and have some tacos and fried chicken. Hey, I'm still half otter. Question number 2 comes to us from Wanderer Werewolf, who asks, "Do Santa's reindeer have to deliver their own presents?" Very good question. Short answer, no. It's usually the elves that deliver the presents for the reindeer. However, there are some who don't live in the North Pole stables, such as the Bolton family, Whiteout, and myself. So we do have to deliver presents to those houses. Now, for the kids, I usually let Santa deliver their presents, but for Nair's present, I like to deliver personally, because mistletoe is usually involved. Scott Circuit from California asks, "Have you ever had competition with any other beings or animals for airspace during your most important flights that resulted in issues?" Excellent question, Scott. Well, not usually in the air, but I have been shot at by hunters on the ground who mistook me for some kind of Canada goose or something. And I'm reminded of a story. This did not happen to me, but it's one I heard a few years ago from a reindeer who had been serving during Gulf War I. There was a helicopter that was taking copies of the Stars and Stripes, that's the Army's newspaper, out to a remote location. They didn't say exactly where, but the helicopter had been shot by a missile, and it was on the way down. The reindeer intercepted the helicopter, and they managed to save the entire crew, but they lost the entire cargo of Stars and Stripes. There were issues everywhere. Actually, come to think of it, there was this time that I was involved in a bird collision, and I still have the scar from it. I don't know if you can see it, right about there. But that's about the worst I've experienced. And finally, our last question is from a Mr. Zach Keene, who asks, "How long is the adjustment period from otter to reindeer? obviously one for me personally. A very interesting question, Zach. Well, thinking back, my first transformation into a reindeer was via hypnosis. That's actually how I became a were-reindeer. I actually am a magician of transformation. I do hypnosis routines that allow people to turn into their favorite animals. My favorite was the were-reindeer routine, and so I just kept listening to that until the effects became permanent. So, as I listened to the routine the first time, the transformation took about 45 minutes total. And if I ever find I need to renew the hypnosis routine, that's about how long it takes, about 45 minutes. Most times, though, as soon as I'm exposed to snow, it takes anywhere from 10 to 30 seconds. Bit longer if it's just a few flakes falling. If you're asking how long it takes to adjust mentally, well, it took a while at first, but thanks to CMAC's law, which states that every transformation has a permanent effect on the psyche, I can now transform like that. And it looks like I'm being handed yet another question. I guess there's time for one more. This one says, tell them what you do on Fridays. Oh yeah, on Fridays we play Quidditch. For those of you who don't know, Quidditch is a game. It is a real game made popular by the Harry Potter series of books and movies. It's played in midair, although there is a ground-based version for any of you normal humans who want to try this. Players usually ride broomsticks. Sometimes they ride flying carpets. I've even seen a team riding on pterodactyls. We, of course, don't need that. We just fly, and that takes the place of flying practice every Friday. Helps us to build up speed, agility, and teamwork. Well, that's all the time we have for today. If any of you have a question for Santa's Reindeer, please send me an email at orenotter3, that's ORENOTTER3, at yahoo.com. And of course, you can find me on Facebook, especially in the groups North Pole Furries, Clean Straight Furries, and the Transformation Cafe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on Christmas Eve.